Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel Throne of Seal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
As long as you practice for a long time, when your spiritual cavities at the chest are filled, naturally, you can store the excess spiritual power cultivated in these two cavities. Once these two spiritual cavities are cultivated, in the future, whether it's cultivation, attack, or defense, the output of spiritual power can be increased threefold. This is the advantage of the 7th rank over the 6th rank. Not to mention that the 7th rank can also trigger the powerful light body. Amplification skill. HaoBao exudes a faint purple-black halo, and his injuries are recovering faster than longhaochen's. On his body, there is also a pleasant surprise as it seems that the bottleneck from 8th to 9th rank has loosened. Although it hasn't truly opened yet, but with this slight loosening, I believe it won't take much longer, he will truly become a 9th rank powerhouse. As the inheritor of the bloodline of the demon god emperor, he is different from ordinary rebellious demon dragon clan members. After his birth, he only had very low strength, just like a human. His subsequent abilities were cultivated step by step. It is precisely because of this that his talent far surpasses his clan members. And in the future, he may become a super powerhouse like the demon god emperor. For ordinary rebellious demon dragon clan members, after breaking through the 9th rank, the growth rate of strength will significantly slow down. And it's challenging to have significant improvements without special encounters. Finally, there is some good news, and the frustration in HaoBao's heart has slightly eased. As long as he can break through the 9th rank, then his position as the heir should be solidified, and he can truly begin to borrow the power of the first demon god pillar. At that time, his strength will undergo a profound transformation, enough to crush longhaochen. HaoBao couldn't help but sigh inwardly. If he could always have an opponent like longhaochen to spur him on, then maybe his future achievements could indeed surpass his father's. But for the rule of the demon race, as long as there is a chance, he will immediately kill longhaochen to avoid future troubles for the demon race. While HaoBao is feeling the cracks in his 9th rank bottleneck, suddenly, his heart contracted sharply. And an almost tangible murderous intent stimulated him, causing him to almost instantly stop practicing. He abruptly opened his eyes. Longhaochen also made the same move. When the eyes of both opened simultaneously, you could see a pair of blood-red eyes and a pair of golden eyes simultaneously shining. And they even exchanged glances, then their gazes fell on Cai Er. Cai Er had indeed changed. Her movements were still the same as before, but at this moment, she was covered in a layer of hazy gray brilliance, and her fair skin seemed to have turned into gray crystal, making her look more like a sculpture standing there. However, the expressions on the faces of longhaochen and HaoBao changed, as they were astonished to find that the layer of gray crystal on Cai Er's body was actually substantive killing intent. Yes, the killing intent had truly materialized. How is this possible? HaoBao said dumbfoundedly. Just at this moment, suddenly, a monstrous killing intent soared into the sky. And the intense grayness turned into a giant sword that broke through the air. Amid a piercing tearing sound, a black star river appeared in midair. Moreover, the length of this star river was rapidly extending into the high sky. Space-tearing killing intent. The immense suction and terrifying killing intent made even the anti-demon hunting squads hastily retreat. Even those 8th rank anti-demon hunting squad were no exception. In the Black Star River, a gray light quietly descended, floating above Cai Er's head, forming concentric gray ripples enveloping Cai Er's body. On Cai Er's forehead, a gray scythe rune gradually appeared. At the same time, the black short sword in her hand, shining with gray light, flew out, floating behind her. A gray lightning bolt suddenly shot out from the Star River, precisely striking the short sword. Immediately, Cai Er's body trembled violently, and the black short sword suddenly turned gray, gradually enlarging and distorting under the dense gray light. It transformed into a huge and deathly silent gray scythe. This scythe was truly enormous, with the length of the handle alone exceeding 10 feet. And the blade, which was 1 foot wide, exceeded 2 meters in length. On the blade, gray crystals emitted a gentle and rippling light, and the gray light surged and swallowed. That sharpness caused a large black violent wind to spontaneously appear around it. It can be imagined, if such a weapon were to make a simple sweep on the battlefield, what a terrifying and bloody scene it would create. Awakening? HaoBao finally woke up. What spirit furnace backlash? Clearly it was just longhaochen's excuse. His powerful female companion was actually awakening at this moment, and it should be a god's chosen awakening. In this instant, HaoBao showed his decisive side as the prince of the demon race, completely prioritizing the interests of the demon race, suppressing personal feelings completely. With an angry shout, "Kill them!" A god's chosen like longhaochen is already a future enemy of the demon race. Once another god's chosen companion appears by his side, they might even become a force to overturn the rule of the demon race in the future. What does personal feelings matter compared to the survival of the race? Bao decisively gave the order to destroy. At the same time as Bao's order, longhaochen naturally wouldn't just wait to die. After recovering for the past few hours, his cultivation had only recovered about 30%. However, for this moment, he had been preparing all along. He just didn't expect Cai Er's awakening process to be so fast, much faster than his own awakening initially. This is actually normal. Cai Er's awakening process went smoother than longhaochen's because of her connection with the reincarnation sword. It can be said, Cai Er's saintess of reincarnation physique is inherently brought about by the reincarnation sword, and the reincarnation sword carries the inheritance of the god of death, longhaochen. However, is different. His god's chosen physique is entirely obtained through his own efforts, and the entire awakening process relies on his own understanding. Although the reincarnation sword is domineering and has strong backlash, it played a bridging role in Cai Er's awakening process. In this situation, Cai Er's awakening speed is naturally much faster. In just 3 hours, her enlightenment had already been completed, and she was currently receiving the bestowal of the god of death's inheritance. 2 rays of light simultaneously surged from longhaochen's chest, one red and one blue, quickly putting on the helmet at the same time. These 2 huge bodies boldly stood in front of Bao. A circle of extremely cold air suddenly erupted from the blue figure, forming a rigid resistance ice ring. Moreover, this resistance ice ring wasn't just one, but 3 in a row, the second catching up with the first, and the third catching up with the second. The 3 resistance ice rings merged into one, erupting with powerful collision force. Everything happened suddenly. Bao and longhaochen reacted the fastest. But they had both suffered heavy injuries. Bao's injuries were slightly lighter than longhaochen's, so his recovery was faster, but he had only recovered half of his strength. At this moment, such a powerful resistance ice ring suddenly appeared, instantly pushing away everyone, including Bao, forcefully pushing away all the demon race powerhouses in the vicinity. Also at this moment, intense purple light erupted from longhaochen's forehead, and a huge figure appeared boldly in front of longhaochen. The enormous body was at least 10 meters tall, with 4 big heads raised high, and 8 eyes emitting a noble purple color. 2 beams of purple light simultaneously fell on longhaochen and Cai Er, while the other 2 fell on the red and blue figures. Immediately after, a horrifying scene unfolded, a distortion to the extreme, an overwhelmingly powerful special energy fluctuation erupted from this enormous figure, instantly covering a diameter of 100 meters. Almost simultaneously, cries of agony erupted from the mouths of every demon, including the demon prince Bao. It was a pain as if their bodies were being torn apart, as if the demonic power within their bodies was erupting completely. Even the various elemental attributes around their bodies were wildly fluctuating. The 8th rank demon race members were a bit better off, quickly activating spiritual power to protect themselves in the intense pain. But the weaker 7th rank demon race members, one by one, had their skin split open. Although they weren't directly killed by the twisted chaotic elements, they still endured immense pain. HaoYue arrived, longhaochen's good friend and companion, finally appeared on the battlefield at this moment. Why didn't longhaochen ask for HaoYue's help when facing Bao earlier? It was to leave behind HaoYue's strength to deal with situations like this. Perhaps, teaming up with HaoYue could make Bao's injuries more severe, but longhaochen is well aware, he still has no way to kill Bao. In that case, why not leave behind the strength of HaoYue, going 10,000 steps back? As long as HaoYue's strength is still there, then he has the assurance of leaving the battlefield alive. Chaos element separation once again appeared on the battlefield, but this time, unlike before, the current HaoYue has not 3 heads anymore, but 4. With the addition of the water head Xiaolan, the chaos element separation with 3 elemental combinations turned into 4. This is not as simple as addition, but an increase in geometric levels. Powerful multi-attribute 7th rank mixed magic. HaoYue had already prepared the magic, waiting for longhaochen's teleportation. So, at the moment it appeared, this magic directly erupted in an instant form. Because all anti-demon hunting squads were close by, so when this magic erupted, all anti-demon hunting squads were affected. If longhaochen and his team had enough manpower at this moment, it would be a great opportunity to annihilate a large number of enemies. Unfortunately, longhaochen can only rely on himself now. Worried eyes fell on Cai Er. Cai Er is still in the final process of awakening as a god's chosen. The dense gray light is gradually blending into her body, and a massive gray scythe floats slowly in front of her from behind, held in her right hand. Cai Er's light purple long hair gradually turned into a crystalline gray. Clear and translucent, exceptionally strange. Her cultivation has already recovered by 30%, enough for longhaochen to use Eternal Melody to teleport himself and Cai Er away. However, Cai Er's awakening process is not yet complete. If he teleports himself and Cai Er away at this moment, the consequences that longhaochen cannot predict may occur, even the slightest harm. He does not want it to appear on Cai Er. Therefore, after HaoYue released Chaos Element Separation, longhaochen, who originally had the opportunity to teleport himself and Cai Er away at the first moment, did not do so, but instead, he wielded his twin swords, protecting Cai Er by her side. Unlike before when HaoYue would enter a weakened state after using chaos element separation, its foreheads raised, its massive body suddenly twisted, and its thick tail swept across. In the midst of chaos element separation, even 8th rank demon race powerhouses are in a weakened state at this moment. Swept by HaoYue's massive tail, 7 or 8 demon race members were sent flying. How could Holy Guards 12 and 11 miss such a good opportunity? A red figure has silently emerged, with red radiance shining, a massive bone blade flowing like clouds. 2 7th rank demon race members in chaos element separation were instantly cleaved in half. The blue figure in the hand of a staff continuously tapped, 6 orbs appearing fist-sized, but fully presenting as deep blue ice spheres flying in all directions, accompanied by a loud rumbling from 6 directions. Terrifying explosions once again sent large groups of demon race members flying. Holy Guards 12 and 11 nurtured within longhaochen's eternal melody, their cultivation also improving with longhaochen's growing strength. Holy Guard 11 is already a 7th rank ice mage, while Holy Guard 12, accompanying longhaochen's breakthrough to 7th rank, also just appeared, reaching 7th rank strength. They don't have powerful equipment, but they possess battle techniques from ancient times. The 2 Holy Guards simultaneously erupted, instantly pushing back the demon race members caught in chaos element separation. However, there are still 6 groups of anti-demon hunting squads surrounding longhaochen, including Bao, totaling 6 8th rank powerhouses. Under the suppression of rank, they are relatively less affected by chaos element separation. After a brief moment of chaos, these 6 8th rank powerhouses have already charged forward. Bao's figure was blocked by Holy Guard 11, the fiery red bone blade flowing like clouds, always finding the openings on Bao's body. However, Holy Guard 11 is now longhaochen, though his attacks are strong, and he has perfected the use of Azura Strike. He lacks longhaochen's formidable sword intent and light attribute spiritual power. Bao does not evade Holy Guard 11's attacks at all, allowing its bone blade to strike him, then following up with a terrifying punch. Although Holy Guard 11 evaded his attacks, it could not stop Bao from charging towards longhaochen. Boom! The combined force of 2 8th rank demon race powerhouses instantly sent Holy Guard 11 flying. No matter how powerful the technique is, it is ultimately futile in the face of absolute spiritual power suppression. At this moment, only HaoYue remains in front of longhaochen and Cai Er. HaoYue no longer uses magic, maintaining chaos element separation, weakening all demon race members. Now it can only rely on physical combat abilities. And this is the first time HaoYue has fully demonstrated its melee combat strength. The first opponent it faces is Bao. Its upper body slightly raised, it extends a claw towards Bao. Bao roars, its figure sways, revealing its true form as a magic dragon, and brutishly charges towards HaoYue's attack. In the intense collision, HaoYue's massive body sways slightly, sent tumbling to the side by Bao's impact, and even with the magic dragon form, Bao staggers from HaoYue's claw. Moreover, HaoYue manages to sweep its enormous tail, and its 4 heads collide in 4 directions, unexpectedly blocking the attacks of 4 8th rank powerhouses. Despite the weakening effects of chaos element separation, these are still 8th rank demon race powerhouses, and faced with HaoYue's robust body, they are unable to break through immediately. However, HaoYue ultimately cannot defend against attacks from all directions. On the other side, another 8th rank demon race member approaches longhaochen. Him of the goddess of light follows a mysterious trajectory to meet the red heavy sword of the 8th rank demon. In the piercing, buzzing sound, longhaochen's figure trembles, but steadfastly refuses to step back. His sharp sword intent leaves a deep mark on the chest of the 8th rank demon. Holy Guards 11 and 12 have returned to longhaochen's side, protecting both sides, and unleashing their combat power to the fullest. However, at this moment, the power of HaoYue's chaos element separation begins to decline. 7th rank demon race members endure the pain and weakening effects of chaos element separation, and press on with their attacks. Swords flying, longhaochen has already taken bursting spiritual pills and bloodthirsty Dan, squeezing out every bit of his strength. However, he is ultimately human, not a god. Faced with such a multitude of demon race powerhouses surrounding him, both he and HaoYue, as well as the 2 Holy Guards, are showing signs of injury. However, longhaochen still refuses to retreat. He is well aware that, as long as he perseveres a little longer, Cai Er's awakening will deepen, and until the last moment, he will not leave with Cai Er through teleportation. Boom, boom, boom. HaoYue and Bao clash fiercely multiple times, surprisingly with either gaining the upper hand. HaoYue's 4 heads are like 4 giant hammers, boldly taking on most of the enemy's attacks. The protrusion on its neck side also emits a faint red glow, as if it could burst forth at any moment. The battle becomes increasingly fierce. Longhaochen exerts all his strength to unleash Azura Strike, combined with the sharp sword intent of him of the goddess of light, finally forcing back the 8th rank demon. However, on the left, a 7th rank demon race member seizes the opportunity to get close, wielding a black long knife and slashing toward his waist. A fiery red figure suddenly appears at longhaochen's side, boldly using its own body to block the long knife. 3 ribs. break instantly, but Holy Guard 12 merely bends slightly, robustly using its broken bones to clamp down on the opponent's long knife. Like a whip, a red radiance fiercely strikes out, forcefully sending the 7th-rank demon flying. A similar situation occurs on the other side. When Holy Guard 11's magic finally fails to connect due to too many strong enemies, it uses its own body to block a purple-black light ball that's headed towards longhaochen. An arm, along with half of its shoulder, is completely blown away. HaoYue's injuries are even more severe, as it uses its own strength to resist 5 8th-rank demon race members. Its overall strength is only 7th rank, no matter how strong its body is. It is still only 7th rank. Numerous grievous wounds have started to appear on its body. However, much to the surprise of the demon race, these wounds are healing at an astonishing speed. HaoYue's attacks continue to be frenzied, with the only change being the gradual dimming of its eyes. However, the purple light on its body is becoming more intense. Boom! Holy Guard 12's red body is finally shattered by the terrifying sword energy from the 8th-rank demon's widespread attack, turned into a ball of red light and flew back into longhaochen's eternal melody. On the other side, Holy Guard 11 only persisted for 1 second longer than him. The blue light, shattered, similarly turned into light and returned to eternal melody. As long as longhaochen doesn't die, and given enough time, they can eventually recover. Losing the assistance of its 2 arms, it directly turned into longhaochen facing the siege of demon race powerhouses. At this moment, he is physically and mentally exhausted. However, behind him, Cai Er is still absorbing the last gray stream. She has not fully completed her awakening. Clenching his teeth, longhaochen's eyes gleam. With golden light, a resolute aura erupts from his body, and a strong dark golden flame rises. Like when Tianqing was forced into a desperate situation, at this moment, he also ignites his own life's flame. After all, longhaochen is a god's chosen. The burning of his life's flame is much more formidable than Tianqing's. The previously appeared shadow of the goddess of light appears again, each sword carrying a mysterious sword intent, forcibly sending 2 7th-rank demon race powerhouses flying. Moreover, in a spin, he unleashes a combined strike of the twin swords, Azure Thorn, boldly bursting the crimson sword energy from the 8th-rank demon race, forcing it back 5 steps. A black spear silently cuts through the air, not attacking longhaochen but heading straight for Cai Er in the final moments of awakening. Golden spiritual wings spread, striking the spear with all its might, forcefully flinging the spear away. But the golden wings couldn't bear the burden, tearing open a long gash. Poop! A long blade fiercely chops on the shoulder armor of the Mithril Foundation battle armor, causing the armor to dent. Longhaochen's shoulder bones emit a sound of shattered fractures, and his entire left arm goes completely limp. Bang! The knee lifts, colliding with a giant cone attacking Cai Er's abdomen. The Mithril Foundation battle armor is not invincible, and it's clear to see, longhaochen's left leg twists backward, clearly already broken. But even so, his gaze remains unchanged. Suddenly coming to the side, using his still functional right hand to embrace Cai Er's waist, using his broad back to block the impact of a purple light ball. Amidst the terrifying rumbling, longhaochen manages to endure without letting his body press against Cai Er. However, an unavoidable mouthful of blood sprays inside the helmet of the Mithril Foundation battle armor. This is still because every time he faces an attack, a ball of golden light surges from his chest, protecting him, otherwise he would have been torn apart by these demon race members. Roar! A roar filled with anger, pride, unwillingness, and resentment suddenly echoes throughout the battlefield. And a massive purple light suddenly erupts from HaoYue, causing both Bao and all other demon race members to scatter and flee, as if haunted by ghosts under the purple light. Bao's eyes reveal a clear expression of shock. It's... His voice unexpectedly trembles for the first time. After HaoYue's 4 heads roar, they all turn their heads toward longhaochen. Longhaochen's gaze meets theirs, finally activating the golden skull at his chest. Rich golden light envelopes him, Cai Er, and HaoYue. And in this very moment, the last strand of gray light finally merges into Cai Er's body. Cai Er's right hand firmly grips the massive gray scythe. A flash of golden light, and the figures of the 2 humans and 1 beast disappear instantly, leaving behind the lingering purple aura in the air and the glow of the eternal melody's teleportation. They escaped? They actually escaped! Bao roars with his dragon head lifted to the sky. However, in his eyes, there is a hint of fear. Yes, it's fear. This fear is obviously not caused by longhaochen, but by the lingering purple aura at the end. 6 groups of anti-demon hunting squads besieging 2 demon hunting squads, but ultimately forced to retreat completely, and HaoYue was captured. 8 lives of anti-demon hunting squad members were lost. This battle can be considered a major defeat for Bao and his group. You stay and clean up the aftermath. Bao roars lowly, flapping his wings behind him, soaring into the sky, not bothering to heal his injuries, flew directly towards the direction of the demon capital. Heart City, Tower of Eternity. HaoYue stood there blankly. When she was teleported here by longhaochen, she fell into fear. A dense aura of death pervaded, different from the silent annihilation of darkness. but a nameless and silent death, as if death would arrive in the next moment. She vividly remembered longhaochen's instructions, so after arriving here, she didn't dare to move at all, just stood there stiffly. Fortunately, the icy killing intent from Cai Er that almost froze her blood gradually disappeared in this deathly silent place. Can they come back alive? HaoYue didn't know what emotions she should have at this moment. Bao willingly gave up the chance to besiege the 2 demon hunting squads for her, saying she couldn't be moved was impossible. But she hoped even more that longhaochen and Cai Er wouldn't die, not just because of her own prohibition. In loneliness, time passed very slowly. HaoYue was in a state of confusion and daze. Finally, after who knows how much time had passed, a sudden flash of golden light, then, 1 big and 2 small figures, 3 figures suddenly appeared in front of her. Longhaochen appeared directly on the ground, while Cai Er stood there straight as before. After HaoYue's 4 heads returned here, they drooped down, closing their eyes, emitting a faint purple aura, before falling asleep. Xiaowang barely lifted its head, spraying a soft, golden light towards longhaochen, nourishing his body. They came back alive. A feeling of great joy and hope surged in HaoYue's heart, but she was quickly shocked by the grim scene of longhaochen. The left shoulder completely collapsed, along with the arm hanging limp, the right leg twisted in the opposite direction, and the Mithril Foundation battle armor on the back had a huge semi-spherical depression, probably caused by the complete shattering of the backbone structure. Moreover, at this moment, longhaochen couldn't make her feel any sign of life. How could he suffer such severe injuries? Since he could teleport back here, how could this happen? HaoYue looked somewhat dazedly at longhaochen lying unconscious on the ground. She had no idea what to do. She stood there stunned for a long while, gradually coming back to her senses, quickly walked over to longhaochen with a strong sense of shock, crouched down, observing his condition. Longhaochen's entire body was covered in the Mithril Foundation battle armor, and there was a faint scent of blood emanating from him. The Mithril Foundation battle armor was intricately designed, seamlessly integrated. HaoYue searched for a while, finally finding the mechanisms to open the armor on both sides of his armpits, carefully and gradually opened the Mithril Foundation battle armor. Silver light gleamed, and the Mithril Foundation battle armor, separated from longhaochen's body, quickly condensed into a silver box-like shape, emitting a gentle light elemental fluctuation, evidently repairing itself. When HaoYue saw the condition of longhaochen inside the armor, she couldn't help but inhale sharply. Longhaochen at this moment looked truly gruesome. There was a deep depression on his left shoulder, flesh torn open, and even bone fragments protruding. His body stained red with blood, his right leg twisted oddly, the upper part of his back collapsed, and blood continuously flowed from his mouth, nose, and ears. His handsome face was pale as snow. Such severe injuries, even a powerful priest here would likely be powerless, with the 3 most severe injuries being compound fractures, the bones shattered into countless pieces, and continuous bleeding. HaoYue carefully examined longhaochen's breathing and heartbeat. His breath was almost imperceptible, but there was still a faint heartbeat. At his chest, the golden skull pendant emitted a soft halo, seemingly protecting his internal organs, thus preserving his life. However, with such severe injuries, HaoYue didn't know how to help him heal, especially the injuries to the bones. A single misstep could lead to lifelong disability. Cai Er still stood there in a daze, maintaining her original posture, but the killing intent on her was fluctuating unstably, and her body was trembling slightly. At the moment of awakening, even though she had absorbed all the legacies, she had forcibly entered the spatial transmission process without completing the fusion, leaving her spiritual power in a chaotic state. What should we do? What should we do? HaoYue anxiously looked at longhaochen's condition, feeling as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Being of the dark attribute, she dared not assist in longhaochen's treatment, as it would only have an adverse effect. In the battle against Bao, it seemed like longhaochen didn't lose. But in reality, he was not Bao's match. The difference in their spiritual power was simply too vast, and Bao possessed the extraordinary legacy of the demonic dragon clan. Before the battle began, longhaochen secretly consumed a newly refined spiritual ignition pill named Flame Spirit Pill by Lin Xin, severely squeezing out his own potential. Unlike bursting spiritual pills, this Flame Spirit Pill didn't provide rapid enhancement, but its effects lasted for a long time, and the enhancement was quite potent. It also had stronger side effects, and excessive exploitation of potential could lead to permanent injuries. For the sake of his comrades leaving alive, longhaochen had done his utmost. Even though he successfully reached the 7th rank, the excessive depletion placed him in an extremely perilous situation. In the final moments, to protect Cai Er and maximize the time for her awakening, longhaochen sacrificed his body as a shield for Cai Er. Otherwise, if Cai Er couldn't absorb all of the legacy's power, she might face an immediate life-threatening situation. Even though longhaochen was on the brink of death at this moment, a faint smile lingered on his lips. Back then, he told his father that the reason he wanted to become a guardian knight was to protect the ones he cared about. Today, he had indeed fulfilled that promise, almost sacrificing his life for Cai Er. If it weren't for the almost desperate look in HaoYue's eyes at the end, longhaochen, considering its safety, might have persisted a bit longer. Despite being a divine guardian, he could still die from fatal injuries. But with the protection of eternal melody, the mithril Foundation battle armor, and the companions sharing the damage, his life force was still rapidly diminishing. The severe injuries, both internal and external, were depriving him of his life. The burning flame of life is gradually extinguishing, even his powerful soul flame has begun to slowly disperse. Just when HaoYue didn't know what to do, wanting to try and bandage longhaochen's injuries, a somewhat resentful voice suddenly sounded. Really didn't want to come to this filthy place full of the stench of death. What's going on? It's become like this. Following that, to HaoYue's surprise, a faint green light emerged from longhaochen's abdomen, filled with the breath of life.